Incredible millionaire reveals touching secret after little girl begged, "Daddy, my arm hurts." Michael stood in the glow of his polished kitchen, a picture of the American dream, a self-made millionaire in a suburban paradise, where dreams hung on every white picket fence. Yet, on this ordinary evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the weight of success felt heavier than ever. His mind buzzed with numbers, meetings, and deadlines, yet as he prepared to plunge headfirst into his latest corporate conquest, a familiar voice pierced through the haze. "Daddy, my arm hurts." Lily's big brown eyes, wide with fear, locked onto his. Her small frame quivered with emotion, and the mere sight sent a dagger of guilt plummeting into his chest. This wasn't just an ailment. It was a heartbreaking plea for his attention. In that moment, Michael was reminded of simpler days, family dinners filled with laughter, where his parents' sacrifices meant more than any boardroom deal. He knelt to Lily's level, his heart hammering in his chest. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" he asked, trying to mask the rising panic. Unable to bear the thought of her pain, he scooped her into his arms, the warmth of her hug contrasting sharply with the coldness of his success. His mind raced. All the time spent chasing wealth instead of nurturing their bond weighed heavily upon him. With frenetic energy, he whisked her away to a private specialist, convinced that money could mend the rift born from his neglect. As he paced nervously in the waiting room, surrounded by glossy magazines and the faint smell of antiseptic, a haunting realization struck him. Her pain was deeper than a physical ailment. It echoed their fractured relationship, his absence like a shadow cast over her joyful spirit. Through the examination room door, he could hear Lily's whimpers. Anxiety gripped him as he recalled childhood memories filled with love and togetherness. How had he lost sight of what truly mattered while pursuing status and riches? The guilt grew, squeezing his heart tighter. He understood now. He had replaced family time with corporate ambitions, trading every precious moment with Lily for the allure of success. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. The doctor emerged, and as Michael listened to the diagnosis, relief washed over him. But so did the stark reality of how much he had missed. Real love couldn't be bought. It was earned through hours shared, laughter, and tender moments. As he held Lily's hand on the way home, the warmth of her tiny fingers reminded him life was about more than just numbers. It was about love, but uncertainty lingers, prickling the back of his mind. Could he truly mend the rift between ambition and fatherhood? As Michael drove through their quaint neighborhood, the houses passing by like fleeting dreams, he felt the urgency to change. Just as he began to imagine a brighter future focused on family, a shocking revelation awaited him, one that would force him to confront his choices head-on. Would he have the courage to prioritize love over wealth before it was too late? The drive home felt like an eternity. Michael watched the streetlights flicker on, illuminating the familiar path, but shrouding it in a new light. Every house he passed whispered memories, birthday parties, picnics in the park, and quiet evenings with Lily snuggled beside him on the couch. He used to cherish those moments, but ambition had clouded his judgment, robbing him of the treasures right in front of him. "Is your arm better now, sweetheart?" he asked, glancing back at Lily. She stared out the window, lost in thought, and he felt a jolt of fear. Was she too far gone? Had his time away burrowed so deep that even a doctor's reassurance couldn't heal the rift? Panic rose again, threatening to suffocate him. "Daddy?" Her small voice broke through the silence. "Can we play together when we get home?" She turned, her eyes sparkling with hope, and his heart melted. "Of course. We can do anything you want." He spoke with the kind of enthusiasm he hoped would mask his lingering doubts. They arrived home, and while she raced inside, he lingered by the car for a moment, contemplating what should have been a simple routine of family life. Each step toward the door felt heavier than the last. Lily bounced back, her dimples showing as she tugged at his sleeve. "Let us build that fort we talked about." "Absolutely." He forced a smile, but internally the battle raged on. Was a fort enough to bridge the gaps he decreated? Together, they scoured the house for blankets and cushions, transforming the living room into a magical hideaway. As they built, Michael couldn't shake off the flashbacks of business meetings and conference calls, memories that now felt like chains rather than accolades. "Daddy, look." Lily's laughter rang out as she climbed into their makeshift fort. She beckoned him in, and as he crawled through the entrance, a wave of warmth washed over him. It felt right to be here, just the two of them, enveloped in laughter and imagination. "This is the best fort ever." He cheered, watching her eyes light up. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, shattering their moment of bliss. Michael's heart sank. He already knew who it would be. As he peered through the peephole, his breath caught. It was Derek, his business partner, with a stack of papers in hand. "Michael, I need to go over some of these reports tonight. Important stuff, we're under pressure." Derek's loud voice cut through the air like a knife. With every inch that Michael opened the door, he felt the walls of their fort and their delicate moments slip away, replaced by the cold reality of his corporate commitments. "Can it wait, Derek?" He heard his voice tremble. Just a few hours lost in the noise of the world would mean everything to Lily. But Derek pressed on, oblivious to everything outside of business. "No, we need to act now. You know how the market is." Michael's heart raced. Here lay a choice: step into the corporate grind or hold tight to the beautiful world they had just created. He glanced back at Lily, who was peering out from their fort, eyes wide, wondering if Daddy would choose her this time. "Just give me a minute, Derek," he said, steel in his voice, hoping to stall for time. He turned back to face Lily, who smiled up at him, a smile that melted all his worries. "Daddy, are we having fun?" As he surely felt, every moment stretched into infinity. Could he admit to himself what was important? The pull of numbers and reports tugged again at his instincts. But as he looked at Lily, waiting for him to choose happiness, he felt a shift within himself. Would he acknowledge that true success meant being there for the ones he loved? Before he could answer, a text buzzed his phone, illuminating the screen with an urgent notification. "Board meeting at 7 a.m. sharp. No excuses." In that moment, Michael knew he stood at a crossroads, with decisions that could alter the course of their lives forever. Would he succumb to expectations or rise above them? The weight of his family's future sat heavy on his shoulders as he faced the door again. Would he find a way to balance ambition and love, or would he lose both? Michael stood in the doorway, feeling the thunderous beat of his heart drown out the chaos of Derek's demands. Beyond the door lay the world of spreadsheets and corporate strategies, a realm where decisions were made but lives were not. Inside their fort, behind him, sat the laughter of his daughter, the promise of joy and connection, begging for his attention. "Just a minute, Derek," he shouted, surprising even himself with the fierce protectiveness in his voice. It wasn't just a game to Lily. It was her father, her love, her world. Michael pushed the door closed a fraction, creating a barrier between the ticking clock of business and the timeless moment of fatherhood. "Come on, Michael. We've been over this. Timing is everything." Derek leaned against the doorframe, his impatience cutting through the air. Michael inhaled deeply, weighing the choices in front of him. He scanned the modest living room, their fort adorned with mismatched pillows and a fairy-like glow. It was a sanctuary born from imagination and unconditional love. "I know," he finally said, his voice calmer. "But some things are more important. Let us talk later?" Derek's frustration bubbled to the surface, but as Michael looked back at Lily, who was half expecting him to emerge from their fort any moment, determination took hold. This wasn't just a battle over hours in a day. It was a stand for what truly mattered. "You know what? Fine," Derek snapped, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "But don't expect sympathy when things go south. You made your choice." With that, He turned and walked away, his footsteps echoing with disappointment. Michael closed the door and leaned against it, allowing a long sigh to escape him. The moment felt both liberating and suffocating. He had chosen Lily, yet the consequences of that decision loomed heavy in his mind.
Daddy!
Lily's voice burst through the silence. Are you coming? He stepped into the fort, where she awaited him like a queen in her castle. The way her eyes sparkled with pure joy reminded him of just how fleeting these moments were. He blinked a few times, reality starting to seep back in. You're right, he said, crawling closer and enveloping her in a hug. Let us do this together. Can we pretend we're on a spaceship, zooming to the moon? She said, her excitement bouncing off the walls. Absolutely. Engage space mode, he replied, beginning to call out exaggerated commands. As they played, he couldn't help but feel a warmth spreading through him. This was real. It was messy and imperfect, but their laughter filled the room like a symphony playing just for them. In this moment, he was more than just a businessman. He was a father, a protector of dreams and laughter. But as the hours ticked on, a subtle heaviness pulled at him. Thoughts of Derek's warnings haunted him. Could he really afford to let this job slip through his fingers? His mind raced with images of a future where bills piled up and opportunities vanished. How could he navigate this balance without falling apart? As night settled softly outside and the fort's glow flickered, he looked down at Lily, her eyes starting to droop with sleepiness. Daddy, can we go to the moon tomorrow? She asked, yawning. Sure, sweetheart, he whispered, but in his heart, doubts stirred. What if tomorrow brought with it obligations he couldn't ignore? Just as he was about to tuck her in, his phone buzzed again, this time with an incoming call. He hesitated, glancing at the screen, knowing it wouldn't be a call filled with love or laughter. It was from upper management, the choice laid bare before him once again. Would he answer, plunging headfirst back into the chaos, or let it ring out, savoring this precious moment?
Daddy?
Lily tugged at his sleeve, sensing his conflict. Caught in the grips of obligation and affection, he held his breath, refusing to take the call. It felt risky, but in the silence, he whispered a promise to himself. He would find a way to secure their future without sacrificing their present, but as the call rolled into voicemail, his heart raced. Could he really defy expectations? Would he truly be able to live a life where love reigned over ambition? In that moment of uncertainty, the light of his phone flickered again. Urgent message from Derek, it read. Michael's heart lurched. Would the consequences of his choice come back to haunt him? The phone sat on the table like a ticking bomb, each vibration pulling Michael further from the warmth of the fort and closer to a world he was desperately trying to avoid. He felt the weight of Derek's message pressing down on him, threatening to smother the glow of laughter and make him feel like he was failing at this fatherhood thing he was just beginning to understand. Lily shifted beside him, her little thumb finding its way into her mouth as she drifted into sleep. Her peaceful face was the greatest treasure he could imagine. In that moment, he silently pleaded for the universe to help him make the right choice. For all her innocence and zeal, she deserved a father who could be there, both physically and emotionally. He reached to turn his phone face down, denying the urgent call for now. But dread settled like a fog in his chest. What would Derek say? What would happen if he lost the job? He couldn't help but visualize the bills piling up, the fridge growing empty, and all those dreams he had once painted for Lily drifting away like smoke. Daddy? Lily's soft voice broke the spell of his thoughts, startling him. Are we still going to the moon? Yes, sweetheart, he said, forcing a brightness into his tone that didn't quite match the storm inside him. We'll go tomorrow. I promise. Will you bring me back moon rocks? She opened her eyes, filled with curiosity and innocence. Michael smiled, touched by her unwavering faith. Absolutely, I'll bring you the biggest moon rock. Just like the ones astronauts bring back. Her eyes sparkled. Like the ones in the stories? Exactly. He leaned closer, ready to immerse himself in this enchanting world. But just as he settled into the moment, the phone buzzed again. Muffled words from Derek echoed in his mind. How could he let himself be pulled back into that life? Will you make me a rocket ship tomorrow, too? Lily continued, eyes shining with dreams. Of course. We can build the best rocket ship ever. We just need some cardboard and lots of tape. Do we need supplies from Earth? Michael chuckled, realizing how lost they could get in this game. Yes. We'll need to venture back to Earth for those. But don't worry, I'll guide our spaceships safely. Okay, Daddy, she yawned, already halfway back into dreamland. Just as the weight in Michael's heart seemed to lift, his phone vibrated once more. This time it was an email notification. He reluctantly picked up the device, curiosity mingling with fear. The subject line read, "Final notice, meeting requested." It was from Derek, and Michael could feel his stomach drop. Breathe, he whispered to himself, taking a deep breath. It felt as if the world outside had crowded in closer, demanding his attention again. What am I going to do? He murmured, glancing back at Lily, peaceful and trusting in her dreams. The tiny fortress they had built around them felt safer than ever, yet the outside world clattered like a storm at the edges of their sanctuary. He was torn between the desire to stay, to bask in the glow of the moment, and the heavy reality pressing against the walls of their fort. As if sensing his turmoil, Lily stirred slightly, mumbled something about astronauts, and then curled closer into a ball. Suddenly, he realized, every day in this dance between father and provider was a choice, his chance to live with intention. And while he wanted to do what's best for Lily, did that mean diving into a world that traded warmth for ambition? Determination surged within him. This was not just a struggle for himself. It was an act of love for his daughter. He stood, still holding the phone, making a silent promise to both himself and Lily. Whatever came next, he would do his best to navigate this path with her at the forefront of his mind. But as he took a moment to breathe, his thoughts were interrupted by the familiar ping of a message, revealing 3 words that would send a shockwave through his heart. "You're running out." Michael froze. In that instant, he felt the earth shift beneath him. What was that supposed to mean for them, and for him? Michael stared at the phone, his heart racing. The words echoed in his mind like an icy whisper. "You're running out." It was not just about time or money. It felt like a siren, alerting him to urgency, to an impending fate he had no power to control. He sat back down, the fort around him suddenly feeling smaller, as if its walls were crumbling under the weight of reality. He looked at Lily, her tiny body curled up, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing just outside their imaginative world. That innocent face, resting so peacefully, was a constant reminder of why he had to fight. Could it mean I'm losing touch with what matters? He mused aloud, shifting uneasily on the couch. The invitation for a meeting with Derek wasn't just a professional obligation. It might as well have been an ultimatum. With every tick of the clock, Michael felt the pull of a life he had recently tried to escape. He considered the work nights, the endless deadlines, the sense of chasing something just out of reach. The thought of returning to that grind churned in his stomach. Was it right to go back? Would it be worth it? As if sensing her father's conflict, Lily stirred again. She opened her eyes, blinking against the dim light, and caught Michael's gaze. The look of trust in her wide eyes filled him with a warmth he desperately needed. "Daddy, can I see the stars?" she asked softly. "Of course. We can see them tonight," he assured her, wrapping her in his arms. Holding her close grounded him, weaving a thread of hope through his apprehension. "After our mission to the moon, we'll lay on the roof and watch them twinkle. Will you hold my hand? Always." He brushed his finger across her forehead, smoothing her hair back. "Always," he promised, the weight in his heart easing as their shared moment glimmered under the playful yonder of possible constellations. But doubt lingered. As Michael glanced back at his phone, he went still. There, in the corner of the screen, was a reminder. Meeting is at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Just hours away. His stomach nodded at the thought. "Hey, Lily," he said, a new spark of determination igniting within him. "What if instead of going to the meeting, we had our own adventure?" "What kind of adventure?" Her eyes lit up, curiosity taking over the sleepiness. "Well, We could build our rocket ship right now, prep for our moon journey, and maybe even devise a plan to make our own moon rocks. He reached for the cardboard box that had been waiting in the corner. What do you think? Yes, she exclaimed, bouncing with excitement. As he pulled out the supplies, he felt a shift within himself. Maybe he didn't need to go back to being that version of himself right away. Perhaps he could carve out a space where he could be the father he wanted to be while still pondering what the future held. However, doubts still lurked. Derek's ultimatum and fear tugged at him. What if this dream wasn't enough? He was torn between the flame of fatherhood he cherished and the icy fingers of reality tightening their grip around him. As they piled cardboard on the floor, imagination swirling. He couldn't shake the question from his mind: was he ready to let go of the expectations of success in the face of true happiness? When the final piece was set in place, lifting the makeshift rocket ship high, Lily's laughter rang out, filling the small room with light. For now, Michael let it drown out the noise of his worries, but lingering at the back of his mind was the unmistakable sense that time was slipping, and the choice to embrace his new reality would come crashing down sooner than he imagined. With every fiber of his being, he knew the reality check was looming, but that wasn't something he wanted to think about right now. The flight of the imagination felt too precious to destroy. Just as they prepared for liftoff, the phone buzzed again, demanding his attention. This time, it was a missed call from Derek. The question ripped through his mind anew. What was the cost of his silence? Michael glanced at the phone, its screen dark, but the weight of the missed call pressing heavy against his chest. He hesitated, the world around him fading into an echo of wonder as he watched Lily jump around their makeshift rocket. Her laughter was pure, untainted by the complexities of adulthood, and Michael felt an ache of love mixed with fear cradling his heart. "Hey, astronaut," he called, forcing a smile to mask the tension bubbling inside. "Ready for takeoff?" "Yes, I am." Lily beamed back at him, her enthusiasm infectious. The simplicity of her joy made him forget about pressing deadlines and corporate agendas, if only for a moment. "Then let us count down." Michael positioned himself beside her in the cardboard ship, feeling like he had stumbled onto a whole new planet filled with possibility. 5, 4, 3. Lily interrupted, her eyes glowing with excitement. 2, he grinned, unable to resist her energy. 1, blast off. They both threw their hands into the air, the feverish excitement igniting a flicker of hope within him. Their imagination took flight as they raced through outer space, dodging asteroids and conversing with friendly aliens. But as they soared through their imaginative galaxy, the cell phone buzzed again, vibrating against the floor with relentless urgency. "Daddy?" Lily's expression morphed into concern when she saw his face. "What's wrong?" "Nothing, sweetheart." He swallowed hard. "Just, another message." He brushed the moment aside, willing himself to stay present. Still, the nagging thought about the meeting, about Derek, hovered like a dark cloud. Michael could sense the shadows closing in. He imagined those overwhelming days of working late into the night, living for the next promotion, of being tied to the idea of success in exchange for his daughter's laughter. The memories pulled at him like a string tied to a balloon that he couldn't let slip away. In a rush of determination, he turned back to the rocket. "Lily, let's take the ship for a spin around the moon first. What do you think?" "Yes. Let us go," she shouted, her excitement drowning out the whispers of dread in his mind. As they played, Michael found comfort in the thrill of her imagination. "Did you know," he said, lowering his voice, inviting a secret like gravity, "the moon is made of cheese?" "You, Daddy." "Gross," she giggled, wrinkling her nose. Their laughter echoed, filling the void that the missed call had carved into the evening. He memorized each smile, each joyful shout, as if they were beacons lighting the way through his internal storm. And yet, each uproar of laughter felt tinged with the urgency that soon enough, reality would demand his attention. When they finally landed back on Earth, the cardboard ship tipping slightly, Lily looked up at him with wide eyes filled with admiration. "Daddy, you're the best captain ever. Can we do it again?" His breath hitched, looking at her small face, so trusting, so bright. In that moment, he felt a bittersweet tug in his heart. The question still loomed large: was this joy enough to sustain him? But just then, another buzz startled him, breaking the spell. It wasn't just a missed call anymore. Now, it came with a follow-up message. "You need to answer me, Mike. This is important." He hesitated, staring at the screen, Lily's expectant gaze weighing on him like a decision that could change everything. What was the cost of stepping away from success? Would it mean walking away from security for the promise of something more meaningful? "Maybe we can explore again tomorrow," he said to Lily, squeezing her hand as a flood of choices surged inside him. "Okay, but you have to promise to be there. Always." His heart raced as he realized the magnitude of that promise. But now, as he stared at the glowing screen, the significance of the moment pressed him hard. Could he really choose a life without chasing corporate success? Michael closed his eyes briefly, knowing that soon the decision would have to be made. Just then, the thought traveled through his mind again: what would happen if he waited too long to respond? Would he lose both worlds he fought to balance? The weight of the phone settled into his hand again, and the question hung there like stars against the dark sky. Was it still possible to pursue his dreams without sacrificing what mattered most? Little did he know, a new dawn awaited, one that might just reveal what he truly wanted. Lily bounced beside him, her joy a beacon in an ocean of uncertainty. Michael glanced once more at the phone, that familiar vibration now buzzing like a swarm of bees in his pocket. He felt the pull of the corporate world, Derek's sharp voice, cold and methodical, qualifying every decision he had made. "Do we get to visit Saturn next?" Lily interrupted his thoughts, her innocent question seeming to pierce through the dense cloud hovering in his mind. "Of course. But first, let us refuel." Michael grinned, shaking off the heaviness. He leaned over as she rummaged through an imaginary toolbox, pulling out soft, colorful pom-poms. "Fuel is ready, Captain," she declared with a mock seriousness that nearly made his heart swell. "Then let us zoom off." He brought his hands to his cheeks, mimicking a pilot's stance. They took flight again, this time racing through rings made of shimmering sparkles and vibrant nebulae. The delight on Lily's face radiated warmth that seeped into the cracks of his resolve. But a voice inside him warned, "Don't forget what's at stake." Michael swallowed down that voice. No, not now. Not while the sun was setting on this perfect moment. As they navigated their colorful universe, he couldn't help but marvel at how precious it felt, the sheer simplicity of pretending, of spending this time together. "Daddy, let us go faster. We can beat the space raccoons," she shouted, mimicking a racing engine. "Hold on tight." With an exaggerated swoosh, they pretended to speed across the galaxy, evading imaginary obstacles, laughter mingling in the air like magic dust. Time seemed to bend as they flew, but reality was waiting, inches away. The phone buzzed again, a cruel thread pulling him back to Earth. Michael exhaled softly, stealing a glance at Lily. Her brow was furrowed now, a flicker of concern showing through the gleam in her eyes. "Are you mad at the phone, Daddy?"
"No, sweetheart.
Just a little tired." He ran a hand through his hair, feeling the weight of his own untruth. The pang of guilt tightened his chest. How could he lie to her? How could he allow this life of pressure to overshadow their moments? "Why don't we have a secret mission?" Lily proposed suddenly, breaking the tension. "We can find treasure in the backyard." Her suggestion unfurled a smile on his lips. "Treasure hunting, huh? That sounds like an adventure. Captain Lily, lead the way." She squealed in delight, jumping out of their cardboard ship, ready to explore the unknown. Michael followed, letting the worries fade for just a bit longer. As they ventured into the dim evening light, Lily was the spark of life in the heart of their backyard. "Look, a natural island over there." She pointed to a patch of grass dotted with daisies. "We can start digging here." As they crouched down, Michael felt lighter. The phone buzzed one last time, but he ignored it. Instead, he felt the earth beneath his fingers, the coolness of the evening air. His daughter dug eagerly, her laughter blending into the gentle rustle of leaves. "Daddy, on 3 let us dig together." "Sounds good." He squeezed her hand and counted down. 1, 2, 3. Their hands brushed through the soil, revealing tiny treasures: a forgotten toy car, a golden-wrapped candy, a smooth pebble. Each find ignited episodes from his own childhood, making him realize that he didn't need a promotion or an office to find riches. It was right here, in the laughter and play of today. But just as Lily squealed in excitement about the next discovery, his phone buzzed again. This time, it felt deafening.
Daddy?
He looked at her, and the question simmered in the air between them: how many more moments could he afford to miss? How long could he keep this balancing act alive? It was all too clear now, the decision hanging heavy like a star just waiting to collapse. Suddenly, he caught a glimpse of his daughter's face and realized the truth was surfacing within him. He wanted something simpler, something real. "Lily, wait," he said, his heart racing as clarity washed over him. But before he could voice what lay within, another notification lit up. The screen demanding his attention. Would he answer it, or would he choose to dig deeper into what really mattered? Michael had frozen, his heart lodged in his throat as he stared at the phone illuminating his palm. The two worlds collided in that moment, the urgent buzz filled with corporate demands and the warm, tangible joy of Lily digging for treasures in the backyard.
Daddy?
Her small voice broke the spell, drawing him back. He could feel the anticipation radiating from her, could see the excitement reflected in her wide eyes. Yet, inside him, an internal war raged on. Could he justify pressing that button, pulling away from the budding adventure unfolding before him? "It's just some work stuff, sweetheart," he said, forcing a smile. But even he could hear the tightness in his own voice, how laden it was with guilt. "Okay, but I want our treasure hunt." She tugged excitedly at his arm, her pure enthusiasm a stark contrast to his worry. "I know, Captain. Treasure awaits," Michael managed to say, trying to shake off the weight pressing on his chest. The feel of her small hand squeezing his spurred him back into action. They resumed digging, fingers pushing through the soft earth. With each small excavation, the past felt like it was blending into the present. Lily unearthed a little wooden dinosaur, crumbling from age, but still colored brightly. "Look, Daddy. Our dinosaur can fight the raccoons." "Yes, just like a real hero," Michael cheered, feeling that joy seep back in. The laughter returned like a forgotten melody, rolling out and filling the gaps of silent worry. But as he brushed a bit of dirt from her cheek, he couldn't shake the haunting buzz from his pocket. What lay in the office was a mountain of reports, deadlines looming ominously. All those late nights were supposed to lead somewhere, validated by promotions, a better home, a comfortable life. But staring at Lily, he was reminded those things felt immaterial next to this moment. "Let us dig until we find the biggest treasure ever. A magical key that opens a castle," Lily exclaimed, her innocent dreams igniting a flicker of hope in him. "Absolutely, Captain. Lead the way," Michael replied, his voice gaining strength. And so they dug deeper into the mystery of their backyard. Each tiny victory shifted the weight on his shoulders ever so slightly. Michael watched Lily as she squealed with joy over a rusted old bottle cap, her laughter rising against the backdrop of chirping crickets and settling dusk. But then he felt it again. That sharp jab from the phone. Compelled by an unseen force, he pulled it out, blinking at the screen. The messages flooded in, reminders of what loomed over him: meetings, deadlines, expectations. "Daddy?" Lily's voice brought him back, soft and pleading. "Can I take this dino to bed tonight?" "Of course, darling." He realized he had a choice to make. The weight of his decision pressed heavily on him. "Daddy, please don't go," she whispered, catching the hint of his distraction. Her words, simple yet powerful, wrapped around his heart like a vice. The notion that she sensed his thoughts tore through him, igniting something primal inside. "I won tea," he promised, and for the first time, the decision felt easy. He tossed the phone onto the grass, watching it land in soft earth, its buzzing silenced. "Let us find that key, Lily." Lily grinned wide, her excitement contagious. They returned to the mission, hands moving swiftly, hearts beating loudly together as they unearthed one makeshift treasure after another. As they dug deeper, the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with splashes of gold and purple. Michael couldn't have anticipated the joy blooming within him like dawn breaking through a long night. But just as they piled their discoveries high, Michael felt a ripple of anxiety. The sense that while they were losing daylight, a much darker storm brewed in the corner of his mind. What if the office couldn't wait? Would he have to face the consequences of leaving it all behind? Daddy? Lily's voice broke into his thoughts once again. Yes, sweetheart? I've got a feeling we're almost there. But Michael's heart kept pounding, a looming decision creeping back into view.
When?
The last glow of sunlight finally faded to gray. Would he still be ready for what lay ahead? The darkness crept in slowly, wrapping around them like a blanket. Shadows danced in the corners of the yard, transforming familiar objects into ominous figures. Michael wiped the dirt from his hands, glancing at the now empty sky above, the fleeting hues of sunset replaced by a creeping twilight. With Lily still at his side, he fought to hold onto the warmth of the moment, but the chill of uncertainty loomed large. Can you help me dig a little more, Daddy? Please? Lily clasped her hands together, eyes sparkling under the dim light. Her innocence struck him like a lightning bolt, zapping through the clouds of worry gathering in his mind. Okay, one more round, he replied, forcing a smile, though the weight of unaddressed tasks pulled heavily on his heart. Together, they dropped to their knees again, sifting dirt with renewed determination. Each handful of soil that tumbled away felt like a release, a small defiance against the clamor of demands waiting for him. They were a dynamic duo in their backyard kingdom, archaeologists unearthing treasures from a mystical past. After what felt like an eternity, Lily's small hands paused. Daddy, my arm hurts, she murmured, holding up her wrist slightly. Looking down at the dinosaur she welded tightly to her palm, Michael felt a surge of concern prick at his heart. Does it really? Let me see. He gently took a hold of her little arm, feeling the warmth of her skin but also the tension in her grip. You've been digging pretty hard, haven't you? Yeah, she admitted, her lower lip jutting out in a slight pout. I just wanted to find the treasure. The sight of her downcast expression struck him deeper than any deadline. It made his chest tighten with an unfamiliar ache. Here was this little girl, with a heart as vast as the ocean, who was ready to tackle the world just to share that fleeting joy with him. Okay, he whispered, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. Let us take a break. It's important to listen to our bodies too. They sat back on the grass, bodies covered in soil, surrounded by their small mound of treasures scattered before them. In the stillness, the night sounds enveloped them, the soft rustling of leaves and the distant croaking of frogs. Daddy? Lily's voice pealed through the night air. Do you think we'll really find that key? I have a good feeling about it, Captain. Maybe tomorrow, we can pick up right where we left off. He couldn't help but beam at her, though a whisper of guilt lingered in the back of his mind. Tomorrow. That word hung heavily, but he pushed it away. Tonight was what mattered. One night without the weight of the world. One night for them to be just a dad and his daughter. Lily nestled against him, her head resting against his shoulder. You promise we can go back to treasure hunting tomorrow? I promise, he said, wrapping an arm around her, enveloping her warmth. We'll find the biggest treasure there is. As the stars twinkled overhead, the questions crept back in. What if tomorrow didn't come fast enough? What if the storm that hung in the office, the expectations and demands, ruined this haven they had found together? His heart raced as he took a deep breath. This moment was precious. It was theirs. He had something to fight for, and maybe tonight was a turning point, a realization that family mattered more than all the silver and gold he could ever chase. But just then, a message pinged softly from the silent phone, buried amongst the grass. The sound felt like an omen, laced with temptation, a harsh reminder of the choices he still faced. Lily shifted, her eyes fluttering open. Daddy, what's wrong? She asked, concern painting her delicate features. What would he say? Would he shatter the moment they decaptured, or face the looming consequences that felt more dire by the second? Would he be willing to gamble on this fleeting joy over the safety of stability? As the tensions tightened around him, Michael felt the weight of the world blend with the beauty of this small moment. Could he truly let it go? "Sweetheart," he started, but the words faded into the night, lost amidst the roar of his uncertainty. As he sat there, a coffee table-sized decision weighing heavily on his shoulders, the haunting question loomed: would the next day's dawn bring clarity or chaos? The night sky held a canopy of stars, twinkling like promises whispering for Michael to grasp them. He sat on the cool grass, his heart divided, but Lily's warmth against him made reality feel softer. The sound of crickets filled the air, but it was Lily's small breaths that anchored him, lulling his mind into a sacred calm. She snuggled closer, her head resting against his shoulder, eyes fluttering with sleepiness. "Daddy?" she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. "I love you." Those 3 words washed over him like a wave, and he felt it deep in his bones, the inexplicable rush of pure love. Here was the treasure he'd been searching for, not buried under dirt but shimmering quietly in moments like this. Michael glanced at the phone nestled in the grass. It buzzed again, a soft demand that was almost exhausting. But as he looked at Lily, peaceful and trusting, anxiety seeped away. She deserved a father who was present, who chose to be here, right now. The weight of his decisions pressed down heavy, but suddenly felt manageable. "Tomorrow will take care of itself," he whispered under his breath, convinced that this fleeting night mattered more than 1,000 meetings. The urgency began to fade. It was the time they spent together that would define their lives, not the frantic chase for success. He shifted, taking a breath filled with purpose. "Let us search for that key tomorrow, Captain," he said, determination shaping his words. "I want to chase those moments with you, whatever it means." Lily smiled, sleepy eyes shimmering with excitement. "You promise?" "Always," he vowed, savoring the weight of that promise. In that simple moment, he unlocked something vast. For the first time, Michael felt the courage to take a step back from the corporate whirlwind. He didn't need to trade his family for business. He could find a way to weave both into his life. He wanted to build a world where laughter echoed louder than conference calls. Before the cool night could chill any more, he collected their treasures scattered in the grass, each a reminder of their adventure, not just remnants of play, but markers of a shift in perspective. Digging deep meant mining for connection, not just currency. As they tucked all their finds safely inside the little wooden box they happened upon, hope stirred in Michael. It stirred in every moment, each laugh and smile shared between him and Lily, precious memories that would always outweigh boardroom meetings. Just then, he felt something small, round, and a bit rusty pass through his fingers. He held it up for Lily, who gasped with wonder.
"What is it?"
she asked, eyes wide. Michael tilted it to catch the moonlight. "It looks like a key." Lily gasped louder, excitement bubbling over. "We found it. It's a real treasure." Her joy burst like fireworks within him. He laughed, covering her little hands with his. "It really is, Captain. The best treasure. A key that unlocks the adventures waiting for us." He saw the world anew in her glow, the promise of tomorrow stretching ahead, full of possibility. As they made their way inside, cuddled in blankets on the couch, Lily's whispers of their next adventures filled the air, lively and vivid. Michael felt a newfound peace settle in his chest. Tomorrow could wait. Together, they would navigate the course of their lives, not in fear of what could go wrong, but with the unyielding strength of the love they had for one another. He closed his eyes, surrendering to hope instead of worry, knowing he had made the right choice. And that moment right there felt like the true turning point. As dawn began to break, wrapping the world in a soft glow, Michael awoke to the sound of laughter and Lily's playful chatter. Light flooded the room, and he felt the warmth of family wrap around him like a familiar hug. This was the real success of his life, a bond glimmering brighter than any achievement could offer, all captured in a promise to be present, to cherish each moment with his daughter.
"Daddy."
"Let us get ready for our moon rocks." Lily squealed from the living room, and Michael couldn't help but smile. This was the moment he had been waiting for. He had chosen love, chosen family, and he would nurture that above all else. And as he stepped into the day, he embraced the uncertainty with open arms. Life was a journey worth experiencing together. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending below. Let's hear your thoughts. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to help spread this message of love and family.